Kick the tires and light the fires. Do it.
What's up, Browns fans? Thanks for stopping in to the Danger Zone. I'm Josh. He's Rich. What's up, man?
Satin.
L-I-V-I-N, brother. Just
Yep.
watched that movie yesterday, actually, for the 787,000th time.
That's it.
We might be pushing 800,000, maybe. Yeah, dude. Look, I hate opening the show with this, but I this is where I stuck it in. This is where it fits. So we're gonna open with the Dog Pound Daily shit article. We're just gonna get that one out of the way. You know, I seen some people kind of bitching at the people bitching, saying, you know, we're sensitive, whatnot, and yeah, we are, and we have a right to be with this. So we'll set the stage real quick. The article, Dog Pound Daily, they've got a slew of writers who write for them, obviously. One of their writers, I won't name, came out with an article, and this was the headline when the article was published and posted to Twitter. Which quarterbacks would be upgrades over Baker Mayfield? Now, regardless of the content of the article, you didn't even have to read it to be angry at what was presented. First off, I went back today because I didn't read the article.
I read it. Absolutely.
I went back and read it, but I noticed something when I went back and read it. They changed the headline of the article. They changed it to which NFL quarterback should be ranked ahead of Baker Mayfield. Now, look, if you read the article, I read the article. It wasn't super bad. Like, it wasn't like, it was kind of weird the way it was positioned, like which teams would trade for Baker Mayfield and what would the compensation be, pretty much was the article. You titled it, which quarterbacks would be an upgrade over Baker, and insinuating that you'd like the trade to happen. Then you went through this article saying it has nothing to do, you know, with actually trading them. It's all speculative. Da, 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 da. Own your shit. Why change the headline of the article if you're already going to put it out there and piss a bunch of people off? Why would you change it? Why wouldn't you just own it, Rich?
They knew it was garbage out of the gate. I read through it and I saw Ryan Tannehill on the list. I saw Drew Brees. Who else was on that list? Derek fucking Carr.
Yep.
Like, none of those guys are upgrades as it currently stands over Baker Mayfield. It was hot garbage. The whole fucking thing was just a shit article, shit title, shit fucking, it was just bad. It was just bad. And it's not their first offense. They've had multiple. And, you know, it's always just taken like shitty pot shots at Baker with bad information. And the first time you did it, it went viral, essentially. And it makes us look like dicks. Like we don't want Baker Mayfield, like he's not fucking good enough or something along those lines. And I'm fucking tired of it.
Yep.
Like we're one of like 10 teams that have a guaranteed starter going into next season. There's a bunch of fucking movement right now. We're not a part of it for good reason because we have a fucking quarterback. Stop with the bullshit articles.
Right.
Just stop.
Right. And it's from a site that, you know, to make it worse, and it does make it worse, it's from a site that is Cleveland Browns centric. Like, that's your whole thing. Look, man, it's bad taste. It's about reading a room, and I know obviously it was done for, you know, clicks, for attention. It's grimy. That form of attention grabbing is grimy. Look, maybe you feel that way for real. I guess that's fine.
It's an epidemic. Look, we have enough of it, okay? We don't need more Skip Bayless's and fucking Shannon Sharp shows. You know, even the guys on PTI, pardon the interruption, on ESPN, old fucking Tony Kornheiser still takes shots at us.
Yeah.
He used to work here. Maybe that's why. You know, it's just garbage ass fucking sports writing where it's, you just say you try to rile people up, and that's like propaganda. It's not fucking, you're not writing an article or being like, you know, looking in, taking a fucking deep dive into shit. You're just throwing out nonsense propaganda to fucking fire people up to draw attention to you because your regular skills aren't fucking good enough.
Yeah.
And it irritates the shit out of me.
And there was, if you write for a living and you're contributing like this on a regular, there is a million other things you could write about. You did not have to pick that. You picked it specifically to do exactly what you said. Rile people up, get that fucking, get the traffic going. And to a degree, like I said, I get, but I'm not going to give it a pass because of my, my business side, my business mind. I'm not going to give it a pass for that. You are a Brown-centric website. Listen, it's this. Get with the fucking program, everybody. Get with the program. We want nice things in Cleveland. We have some nice things in Cleveland. Quit acting like we don't.
Right.
Get behind the fucking team, okay? And people misconstrue this mindset with being a homer or having blind faith. And no, dude, I'm using my eyeballs for this whole past season. Actually, I'll even go cumulatively for the last 3 years since Baker's been on the team. I understand 2019 was a bad season, but you can see the progress the team has made even through 3 years. Yes, there was regression in 19, but a big rebound last year. If you can't get behind this team and you are a Brown-centric outlet, I don't know what you're doing, man. I don't know what you're doing. And look, I'm not calling for people to lose their privileges of posting articles or anything, because it is freedom of press here. You can put out whatever the hell you want as long as it's not illegal. But man, it's bad taste, and I hope that there is ramifications in terms of following and popularity because of it. In the negative way.
I went after it on Twitter. I was like, I'm tired of this shit, dude. I just don't know why there's no real nuance in it. It either, if you don't have Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, you need a new quarterback.
Right.
And it's not, the money thing with quarterbacks is going to change too. It's like, if you don't have a top 3 guy, well, then we need to trade everybody and start over. We can't do anything until we have that guy. And it's just bullshit, dude. Like, I don't want you to be a homer. I don't want you to, kiss the ass of the fans even. But do some fucking worthwhile shit. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other things that we could be looking at. Nobody's talking about the kid that we snagged off of Miami's fucking practice squad. Give me some info on that guy. Give me some info.
Don't just be a pot stirrer. Don't just stir the pot.
And it's part of it's why I don't write a bunch of articles, is because I'm not, it's like you could tell the dude sat down and was like, fuck, I don't have anything to really write about. Or I was lazy, or I didn't look into enough things. Instead, I'm just going to go right back to the lowest hanging fruit possible to draw attention to Cleveland fucking sports. And I'm going to try to shit on the quarterback. I mean, dude, look, Baker is a cusp top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair.
On the cusp. If he has if he improves from last year into this year, if he improves numbers wise and things like that, well, then we're talking. He's into the top 10, no questions asked. And for you to write an article essentially trying to replace him with a bunch of fucking stiffs, fuck you, man. It's just bad. And then you carry around the fucking name Dog Pound Daily, like, you fortunate bastards. Number one, you probably don't sit in the fucking Dog Pound. Number two, you stole the name and you're probably just some fucking Yinzer imposters writing dog shit articles.
They're spies.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus Christ. I was so fucking mad when I seen it. I'm like, we should strip them of the name. We couldn't. I mean, there's nothing we can do. But
look, and I like I said, I understand it was one writer from the site. Was it the same writer that did it the last time too? Or was it someone different? Do you remember?
I don't know if it was the same dude, but I mean, you are the company you keep, so
true.
Fuck you.
It's true. But it's bad taste. And look, man, read a room. And maybe
it's not even bad taste. It's just bad fucking work, because the guys, half the fucking guys in the article were not better than Baker Mayfield at any point. And they just, I mean, you literally took 3 dudes that anybody in their right fucking mind would trade their quarterback for, and another 3 or 4 dudes that no. Oakland, dude, Carr might not even be the fucking starter in Oakland next or in Vegas next year. You know what I'm saying? Like he was on the fucking hot seat going through, throughout the season. It looks like it got a little better, but I mean, if Vegas, the Raiders have a better shot to upgrade, they're gonna fucking take it.
Yeah.
So those guys can eat dicks, man. A whole bag of dicks. Fuck those guys.
Big old bag of dicks. Hey, listen, this next topic, we'll move off of Dog Pound Daily. The next topic is probably going to bring up Baker Mayfield again. I want to talk about the Super Bowl window. So some people believe it exists. Some people believe it doesn't exist. There are a variety of different qualifications for this window and what it actually means. We talked a little bit about it on Twitter. I put the poll out there. I'm going to dig that poll up because I don't have it ready right this second. But I do got to ask you this, Rich, in terms of your thoughts. Do you believe that the window exists? Not just like with the Browns in general. Does the window like live in the NFL? Is there one?
Yeah, the window is directly connected to the play of your quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a window. If you have a quarterback, you have a window. If you have a good quarterback, that determines how open that window is. And as long as Baker Mayfield stays in and around that top 10 or better, the window's open. I mean, it's really that simple. Like, I know exactly what you're referring to, fucking dipshit Garrett Bush.
Yes.
The window's fucking open for 2 years. It's like, well, why do other teams have a window that's still running?
Yeah. And then that's when you started to get this, I don't want to say spinning, but the looking at it from a different perspective and saying, well, what he meant was your best chance is the next 2 years. And I disagree with that as well. You're right. The quarterback is directly number one. Numero uno.
Yeah, there's no other
window. So, Baker Mayfield's career will ultimately determine that, yes, the supporting factor, and that is definitely the front office and their decision making, because I think the quarterback opens the window. I think the front office has the biggest impact on keeping it open. That's with paying the quarterback, obviously, and making sure he has pieces around him to succeed, yada, 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 contracts, blah, 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 blah. So it definitely exists, right? I mean, I know our boy Jeremy says it's a myth. I do believe it exists. You see cycles in the NFL. It seems to be cyclical, right? And those kind of directly correlate with what we're talking about, because as these cycles roll around for these teams, their windows are open. Pittsburgh, even though they haven't been to the playoffs in a while, that's probably because their window started closing sooner than we thought.
Their window is shut.
It's slammed shut now, but they had a long window. New England, Indy with Manning, New Orleans, even though Breeze has fell, tapered off because he's old, they had a big window. Yeah, they only won one. Yeah, Green Bay's only won one with Rodgers. Manning only won one with the Colts, sure. But the window was a pretty long time. If you look at the poll, so I gave the options, and I should have did a better job on the options, but 1 to 2 years, 5 to 10 years, 10 plus years, or not ready to compete. So the majority, 56%, said 5 to 10 years. And I think that's fair. I think that's right in the area. And Baker, who knows? He could be another 12-year quarterback. I don't know. Who knows? But I think we have at least 5 years with him of playing good football and enabling us to have a chance. You got 1% out there not ready to compete yet. The 1%, Rich, they exist.
Yeah, we went 11-5. We go 11-5, and these jerk offs are like, they're not ready yet. And they're probably, there's two types of those people. They're the Baker Mayfield haters, and they're the Jarvis Landry haters.
Oh, man.
Those guys they're not ready. Jarvis Landry is only kind of good when he's catching the football. Yeah, I mean.
Look, and because he owns it, I'll use his name. And I generally like a lot of what Pete Smith does. I do. I follow him for that. But his Jarvis hate, man, it is strong, and I don't like it whatsoever.
He's one of those big-brained people to where they think. I don't know I'm with you. I like some of his shit, but he tries to make it too smart sounding. Like, well, he's not good because his average yards per reception is 6.1, and The really good guys are 6.3.
The
Like,
only argument is ever the statistics versus the dollar value. That's the only argument that there ever is. And I think if you look at Jarvis in only that light, you're doing a huge disservice to him, of course, but even to you as a viewer. Like you got to see that it's more than just stats equals dollars. It's not that simple.
no, it shouldn't be.
It's actually proving to be not that simple with a handful of players on this team, and I think that's a good thing because these intangibles, we'll call them, I guess, these things that don't necessarily equate exactly to stats are super valuable to this team and how it's constructed. So I don't know. We kind of went off on a little tangent there. Fucking Landry got brought up.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how because all the pieces are kind of, I mean, they're all a part of it. Landry was part of, getting the window open.
You're right there.
He's the first one that said, "Hey, maybe we should have a window."
He released the latch on the lock on the window so it could be opened.
Right, and people just look. The window is directly related and attached to the quarterback. Period. Yeah. If you don't have a quarterback, you are in a dark room with no windows.
You are the Browns pre-2018.
Right.
20 years. That's what you are.
When you draft a quarterback, they also hand you a window. It's not open yet. It's not anything really. It's just a window. As he starts to get good and better, that window opens, man. And I don't even think, look, this front office hasn't even touched in terms of like roster building on the defense yet.
No, they haven't. You're right.
And what I mean by building is having more of the players that they're looking for, which is another safety, which will lead us into what we're talking about here in a minute, but a particular style of defense. So
yeah,
the window just got cracked open last season. As this season goes, we'll determine how much farther up that window opens.
Right. And that's why I think the 2 years is a bunk assessment because yeah, if you're looking at contractually, maybe you can make an argument for that. But I'm not looking at it that way because you've got Baker Mayfield, who's progressing very nicely and, really just entering his prime years. 26 to 30 is really the prime years.
35 anymore, it seems.
Right. It's actually extended, but entering his prime, and a lot of people, we're not going to get on if the Browns are going to keep Nick Chubb or not. We're going to assume they are. He's still under contract, Again, young guy entering his prime years. A lot of youth on his team entering their prime years. Of course, that does beg the question. The money talks, but the window isn't closed in 2 years because all of a sudden your team goes fucking bankrupt and you can't afford to keep anybody.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. Like, it's like, well, then how have we had the same teams be good for such? I mean, it seems like the Packers, Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs,
Saints before Breeze took his demise. Yeah.
Well, just all of it. Like
Seahawks.
It seems like they've been good for 10 fucking years. What the fuck do you mean the window's only open 2 years? Seattle's been good since they got Russ. Period. Since they got him.
Yep.
Atlanta, their window's fucking shut, but their window was open for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
I don't understand the
coach and quarterback, right? That's the two most important.
Yeah, I mean, but 90% of it is the fucking quarterback because
as Brady has proven this year.
Well, look at Manning. How many coaches did Manning have?
Yeah.
When he was in Indy, there were 3 different guys there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or at least 2.
Is one numero uno.
So these are the guys that are fucking they're Cleveland Browns fans, but they're also like all Chicken Littles. In 2 years, we're going to have to pay Baker $100 billion and we're not be able to pay anyone. We're just going to run fucking stiffs out there, a bunch of guys off the street or something. Come on. I mean, Pittsburgh showed it. Pittsburgh hasn't drafted great, mind you, over the last handful of years, and the window is still open. Our front office doesn't have to be perfect to continue, like, to widen the window.
Yeah.
The Patriots have kind of drafted like shit over the last 5-6 years. Their window's still open when they had Tom.
Yeah, as long as they got that quarterback.
I mean, Indianapolis went and got Phillip Rivers because the pieces were there. They needed the piece that opens the rest of the window. Granted, they didn't, it didn't pan out, but 2 fucking years. I mean, that's just an idiot comment. Like, come on, man, you're smart. I know he's smarter than that. He's not a lot, but fuck
Hey,
me.
It drove a bunch of conversation, man. It was talked about on the
Well,
social.
I could shout dumb shit too. Like, I'd be really curious to see what happens if you have a guy that has 2 left feet when he's running. I bet he'd be faster and turn left better too. Like, I can make up nonsense to fucking shout out into the darkness to drive conversation. It's just idiot conversation. It's just a bunch of faces fucking talking at each other.
Isn't that what it always is, Rich?
Yeah, and that's what blows. That's why I hate it. Like,
a bunch of faces talking at each other. Yep. Okay. Windows. Hey, they're all over my house. Do the Browns have one? Sure. We'll see. Free agency, I think, Rich, is going to help that a little bit. We talk about front office making good decisions to support the quarterback, mindful of the future and money and everything else, right? So we're entering that period right now in the new league year starting here in just over 3 weeks, where free agency will officially kick off. But definitely those talks are going to start heating up here in the next week and a half. You're going to see, visits, and I don't know, they're allowed to visit before the league year, right? I don't know. Yes. Either way, you're going to see some momentum start to build like we do every year, right? So the Browns go into this free agency period for the 2021 season expected to be what, 30 million available cap space out of the 180 million floor that has been set. That's not the salary cap minimum. 180, that's not minimum spend. That's at least what the cap will be, 180 million. So the Browns sitting about 30 million of room. It's early. That can change. Those numbers can change depending on what happens if they do some restructures or releases, whatever.
Which I expect. I expect there to be
some things.
A couple. Sheldon Richardson's one. Jarvis and or OBJ are probably be one. So I expect some shucking and jiving to happen for sure.
Especially with the front office that we have and supposedly, having that label of being savvy with the cap and the numbers and the yada, yada, yada. So the Browns have a fair number of needs, Rich, and most of those needs lie exclusively on the defensive side of the ball. That's not to say they don't need offensive help, but just the defense needs a scotch more. So I got 3 areas here, 3 position groups. And then, like I told you the other day, I plan on giving a couple options. These are not necessarily my guys that I'm wanting them to sign. They're just a couple of options that I think the Browns could pursue. And the way I structured it, I kind of went high-low, a guy that may cost a little more than the other guy, if they're maybe looking for a budget or willing to spend a little bit. So let's see who's on the list, Rich. We're going to start with my first position. I don't know if it lines up with yours. I'm sure it does. Edge rusher or just generally defensive line help. I specifically chose edge. I'm going to lead it off with my number one big money option, bigger money option. He might not be the biggest, but that would be obviously J.J. Watt because he's already tied to the Browns. And like I said before, I think he's a guy that would immediately help the defense get better, especially with benefiting from Myles Garrett on the field. Of course, injuries are a concern with his ability to stay on the field, and we're dealing with that with some of our own guys as it stands now. But J.J. Watt being the guy, I think he was the most double-teamed edge rusher in the NFL last year.
That is correct.
And, he's probably going to cost in the neighborhood of 12 to 14 million a season, but he may want a 3, 4, 5 year. He may want a longer contract than the Browns are willing to give. So he's my number one guy. Rich, do you have edge on your list or D-line, I guess?
Yeah. Well, no, I have edge and interior D-line.
Oh, okay. You broke them up specifically. Okay.
Yeah. So the edge guy that I'd like the Browns to take a look at and who I think they are, because I think they were a little bit involved when he got traded, was Yannick Ngakoue.
Okay.
I think he would be a nice compliment. I think if JJ was coming to Cleveland, it would have happened already. I had Friday pegged as the day. I thought it was going to happen. So we could talk about it all weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way these things kind of go sometimes. The 2 guys, if JJ Watt's out of the question here, I'm looking at Yannick Ngakoue and Hassan Reddick from the Cardinals, who's a free agent. would be another one that I'd really like to see opposite Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of player would be fucking fantastic. I mean, look, I mean, there's a couple of other guys out there, but those are the two that interest me specifically.
I got a name to keep an eye on too. He's a young guy, not huge in the numbers, but he's very consistent. Carl Lawson out of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
He's coming off his rookie deal. Now, since they might, keep him around, but 5.5 sacks, not earth shattering. But the number that stands out, QB hits, 32 last year. The guy had 32 QB hits, second to only TJ Watt. The athleticism that he brings would be fun to watch.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm a fan. I like him. I'll put it to you this way: Cincinnati shouldn't let him go anywhere.
Right.
But it's Cincinnati.
Right? It's Cincinnati, so
and they don't fucking pay anybody.
He's a guy that you're probably looking 7 to 10 million a year range, and he's young, so you'd be able to probably get him on a long-term deal. That might drive that average per year down a little bit with roster bonuses and everything else, yada, yada, yada. You could probably get it a little bit lower. But he's a guy he wouldn't just be a JJ Watt couple year guy. You could get him for 4 years and feel comfortable doing that. So D-line, I think that was where, a lot of us saw help coming for the Browns. A unit that didn't play horribly last year, but with the impending free agents that we have already and wanting to bolster that, there's going to be some movement there for sure through free agency, I would expect, and the draft. I think they're going to go both routes.
It wouldn't. I don't know about the edge. They may free agent somebody, depending on if they're able to get their guy. Like the number one target they're going after. I don't think they'll draft anyone on the edge. They may.
No, just D-line in general.
Oh, yeah. Look, they're going to draft or sign a 3 technique.
Yeah.
All right. Jordan Elliott and what's his face? Billings are going to be playing the ones, the nose position there.
I'm glad you brought Billings up because he's a guy that's often forgot about because he didn't play this year. So
he's a free agent signing for this year just because he didn't play last year, really. And then you got Sheldon Richardson, playing that 3 technique. But we could be opening a hole here because he's a big time candidate for a restructure.
Yeah,
like a restructure or get released type deal. But the interior line, I think look, the D line is a spot. We need edge and interior for sure.
Yeah.
A 3 technique and another. Yeah, they're going to address it for sure. That's a certainty.
Yes, sir. That they are. All right, number 2 on my list, Rich, for today. I have linebacker now. Obviously, we know that this isn't an area that they're likely to splurge or spend a bunch of money in.
No.
I did have a higher priced guy on the list just to throw out there, and that's Jayon Brown from Tennessee. Now, Tennessee will probably keep him around, but they're dealing with keeping some other guys too. They've got some free agent issues over there of their own that they need to work out. But he's one of these undersized linebackers that are quick. He's got the 4th best forced incompletion percentage since 2017. So, he's a good coverage linebacker as well. So that's kind of why I put him on the list because he pairs well. Now, he's a guy that is probably going to cost you 10, 12, 13 million a season. My budget bargain guy, well, I guess mid-tier, not budget bargain, Denzel Perryman from the Chargers. But he's a different linebacker altogether. He's more of a run-stuffing type linebacker. So this would rely heavily on maybe Jacob Phillips transcending into that other role, in the Sam linebacker role, be able to cover more, be able to drop back. And he showed good lateral speed, flashes of good lateral speed last season, talking about Phillips. So if they sign someone in free agency for the linebacker spot, which I'm not confident they will at all, if they do, I think it's going to be telling of which direction they're going to go with some of these young guys that they have on the roster already.
Yeah, look, if you have a high-priced linebacker on your list, throw your list away. It's not happening. It's just it's just not happening. Look, I think they may bring back PJ Goodson.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Look, here's what I suspect. unfortunately, is B.J. Goodson and Malcolm Smith are coming back. And we'll draft a linebacker somewhere in the day 2, probably. That's how I kind of see this working out. The defense we're looking to play is taking a linebacker off the field.
Right.
Now that
correct.
does make the two guys that are playing a little more valuable, but I don't think it's a place where they want to spend a ton of money, because there aren't a ton of linebackers that are, I have to make this statement just after a Super Bowl we watched where the Buccaneers linebackers were just fucking outstanding.
Right.
It doesn't seem to be as a high impact position as it has been in the past.
I think, like you said, scheme kind of drives that a little bit too. And if you're talking 4-2-5, ideally you'd like your linebackers playing closer to line of scrimmage as often as possible. You got five defensive backs back there.
Well, that's the third safety. That's
correct.
The third safety's playing that making up that 4-2 to a 4-3 essentially. I'm just saying, it doesn't seem. It seems like the guys that are like the Ray Lewis type, the Mike Singletary type, like full on leaders of defenses, they're not looked at as valuable anymore, it seems.
And you can have anyway, if you're talking, that third, that 4-2-5, so that third hybrid safety linebacker guy, maybe that's your field general of the defense, because traditionally, I guess you look at linebackers, you're like, well, one of those two has got to run the defense. That's how it goes.
It's going to
run the defense.
There's going to be a
hybrid guy. You know what I mean?
The rover. That's who it's going to end up being, is the rover. And I think that might be the position that gets, investigated with our first round pick.
Could be. I mean, that's,
the other thing we got to keep in mind with this shit in terms of free agency is, we're more likely to trade a first round pick for a guy that's already in the league than we are to sign a big time free agent. Like, we're coming up on those years down the road where first round picks aren't as important in terms of finishing off your team. I could see us. There's rumors going around that we have our eye on Von Miller, or there's been conversations with Browns players and Von Miller. We're getting to that point where we could be using our first round picks to go get guys as opposed to signing them.
It's true.
It's
true. And look, I'm okay with that, because obviously you're not going to be likely to be spending first round draft picks on guys 32, 33, 34 years old. I don't see that happening. But if you're talking a guy maybe 28 to 30, somewhere in that range, and you can get 4 solid years out of him, you think? Because really, that's it. If you can get a guy who can start for you and play well, you feel he can, for 4 years, it's worth a 4th round pick, I guess, regardless of age.
Yeah. And, if you look back at the important things that this organization looks at as important, age is something that they definitely look at.
They do.
And here's the other thing to keep in mind with this free agent thing, man, is this is coming off a low cap Rona year, right? You're going to see a fuck ton of 1-year deals.
That's our specialty.
Well, I'm not even saying just with us. I think the rest of the NFL's catching up, where guys are going to try to get back out on the market when the cap jumps.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a sizable jump when it goes back to normal. And I envision a bunch of guys taking 1-year deals, and that may help us. Because our rollover cap's only good for this season.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that money disappears next year when it starts to become, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it resets to whatever you got.
Right.
Yeah.
So 1-year deals, man, I'm telling you. We're going to people are going to hate it, because they're going to be like, we did this last year, our defense was ass. And it's not really like we're not intending to do it.
Right.
It's just the way the things are shaken out. Like, it makes sense. It makes more sense to do these 1-year deals with the players because that's what they're going to want, so they can hit the market in a big cap year. And it does better for our cap situation as well going forward. So,
well, it gives you an opportunity to kind of vet out players too, because you see people getting stuck with huge contract. We signed this guy for 6 years.
Look, I'd rather
and now he fucking blows after year one.
I'll tell you what, in football, I'd rather date a bunch of girls as opposed to, a football analogy here. Date a bunch of girls instead of marry one.
Yeah.
And the Browns are going to be dating a bunch of guys, girls, whatever, players this year, instead of marrying them, I think. Yeah. With the cap situation and everything.
I think that'll be just fine. Like you said, that we got the draft. You got some young guys who are, we had some tough times with them last year, but showed promise. Jacob Phillips being one. Obviously, Harrison Jr. via the trade. I think he's got a solid shot to be a good player on this team. There's a handful of guys that you can work with, but we'll see where they go with the linebacker spot. Like you said, I don't expect big money to be spent or maybe anything in free agency. So we'll see. But one area, Rich, and this is my third spot here.
We're in the same boat.
Sticking with the defense. One area I do think they will bring in free agent help from is the defensive backfield, whether that be cornerback or safety. I've got each on my list, and they're both kind of not super break the bank options. My first one is a cornerback, Troy Hill from the Rams. He bounced around early in his career, found some stability with the Rams, moved to the slot corner position. He previously played on the outside. He's not great against like the physically imposing number one receivers. But the guy has a knack to find the ball. He plays the ball well. And he plays scrappy. I think last year he had 2 interceptions returned for a touchdown and a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
I'll be taking that shit all day.
And so he brings that veteran presence there. And I think at certain positions, it's good to have that on your football team. And I think defensive backfield is one of those positions. And he's probably going to cost you around $4 to $6 million a season. So, I mean, that's that with that. Rich, do you have any cornerbacks on your list, or are they just safeties?
I mean, I'll take a quick gander here and tell you, I could see the Browns, I could see a situation where Terrence Mitchell's back. I mean, there isn't really.
It's kind of a odd free agent class, I guess, for defensive backs.
There's not a lot. Well, just for corners.
Are you on the Sherman train at all?
I am, but I'd rather he play safety.
That I was thinking that Rover hybrid spot.
Yeah, but Sherman isn't. I mean, he'll tackle, but I don't want his old ass down there fucking sniffing around the line of scrimmage. I mean, if you're signing him for that, well, then you ain't gonna have him long. I mean, we just re-signed Robert Jackson or whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
So I still could see Money Mitch coming back. I don't see us dipping our toe a lot in the in corners, really, like impact guys.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even that, I think we may bring in some low-level dudes just to kind of poke around it a little bit, but I don't see us doing anything crazy. I see us going after a safety, though.
Yeah, I agree. They may go both directions. I don't know, but defensive back for sure. Safety, Rich, I didn't, I picked a reclamation project just because I liked him when he came out. I think Malik Hooker is definitely on the table. Injury concerns, of course, but
yeah, dude, big time.
You could get the guy for probably $2 to $3 million on a prove it deal.
Look,
and see what happens.
if I could go into the future and look, and I don't care about the contract, if he was able to stay healthy,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd take him. But I'll tell you this right now, and I thought the Browns were sniffing after him last year. Trying to get him here. Justin Simmons from the Browns. I think he's going to be the gem of the Browns free agency.
Think?
Yeah,
is that call your shot like I did with Hooper last year? Hopefully it turns out
better. I'm thinking, yeah, I could see. I don't think they're going to go after Anthony Harris. I think the relationship with Stefanski, that thing, I think that ship sailed. Stefanski's in his second year. That shit's not as important. But I think Justin Simmons is one that I'd be welcome to for that safety spot. There's no chance Carl Joseph comes back, even though he played really well at the end of the season. I can't say there's no way. It's possible. Okay.
What about 23?
I'll fucking jerk the wheel into a bridge abutment, dude. I can't do this again with him. I can't do it. Oh, I can't. I'd rather we didn't. Marcus Williams is another one that I wouldn't mind. But I think they're going to go after our boy out there from Denver. I do.
I like it.
I think he's the guy that they're targeting the most. I mean, and I also said Ngakoue earlier. So, I mean, there goes all our cap.
Yeah.
That would be damn near all of it. But if that's what you did in terms of free agency, and then you drafted, decent or well, and picked up after draft cuts and shit like that.
Yeah. You're not going to have a lot of money tied up in drafts in this draft.
No, not anymore. No. And I mean, don't be look, people are going to, we've got to let go of past shit with the Browns. We may move that first round pick either up or down. Yeah. Depending on who's there and who we want to go get.
You're pretty free to do a lot with that. I mean, at this point in the game, it's going to be one of those drafts where it's nice because obviously, again, we're not drafting a quarterback, but we get to sit back and kind of see what kind of magic this front office can do. If they can land a guy that, we perceive as a good pick there at where they pick at 26, 26, I think 26.
Yes, 26.
If they can land a guy there, or if they can, parlay that into maybe more picks, or another player and pick, we'll see. It's going to be. I think this is going to be a draft, an off season where you see this front office really show what they're made of in terms of working to continue building this team. Last year was obviously really funky with the start of COVID, and everyone was new, and they did a pretty decent job. There's still some question marks on their draft from last year. We'll see how that pans out, but it looks pretty good right now. And we'll see if they can continue that, and if they got what it takes to add to this team and make the right decisions to get that contention going. So some of this, obviously, Rich, is going to happen through free agency. The good teams do it. They're selective. They don't do the dream team stuff like the Eagles. And I think this will obviously be another telling period for this front office and how they handle free agency, who they bring in, who they don't bring in. So that's going to be interesting. Look, this is just kind of the way early looking at some people. This is obviously going to pick up. We are
poking some pieces around.
Yes. We're going to be talking about free agency a lot more over the next 3 weeks, especially as news breaks with certain things going on with the Browns and with the NFL as a whole, as players come off the board and the landscape starts to shape up a little bit and we see what's going to be happening. So more to come with free agency, folks, because it is silly season, our favorite time of the year in Brownstown, right?
Silly season. I hate it.
I know.
I hate it.
We'll get there. I think, once the league year starts, it always seems to start rolling a little quicker. This is just the dead time of the year. So, all right, that's it for free agency on this episode. Like I said, we'll be back to it in future podcasts, probably the next 3. So,
yeah, it's going to heat up, man.
It's going to heat up. Let's get into some NFL news, Rich. We'll start with talking about what my bonus block was about. Weed, Rich. My bonus block was about weed. Okay, so the NFL, I did an article, like I said, about a year ago when they first before they changed their policies this past season. So we all know they pretty much, I call it decriminalized cannabis in the NFL. So you no longer can be suspended for, you ain't going to jail for weed in the NFL, but they are going to dock you pay, and they're going to look at maybe putting you in some kind of intervention program. So now they said they are launching this initiative to looking into research on cannabis and finding out what kind of therapeutic benefits it can have for the NFL and its players in terms of pain management, daily pain management, post-operative pain management. And they also want to know what kind of performance value it has in terms of athletic performance. So obviously in my bonus block episode, I went off on these things. Rich, the NFL, in short, I'm going to summarize the whole 11-minute bonus block. The NFL is still behind the times on this. You have the MLB and the NBA both saying, look, we ain't even test for it anymore. You guys do what you want. Just don't come high to the games. The NFL is, we'll look into looking into it. Get with the times, NFL.
Yeah, look, man. There was an article I saw after yours that was like, the NFL's looking at replacing opiates with marijuana. Is marijuana a better at? Well, it's like, yeah, it has been. Welcome, to the fucking the future, for Christ's sake. Get on the same page as your players. Your players have been looking into it for years for pain management and shit like that. It ain't like the guys want to be a bunch of jerk offs, smoke a ton of weed, and just eat the food in the house. Like, a lot of them are using it for pain management. And
Yes.
The fact that it took the NFL this fucking long to get caught up, pull your head out of your ass, man. Quit sniffing your own fucking farts and pay attention.
Yeah.
And because that's kind of what it seems like.
And I think some people need to understand that pain management isn't relegated to just physical pain. There is a therapeutic value for your mentality with cannabis as well that I'm sure NFL players can benefit from as well. The rigor, the stress is a funny thing and it affects people in different ways. I'm sure, even though we look at a pro athlete, and we're talking about the NFL obviously specifically, we look at a football player and we go, dude makes $5 million a year. What the hell does he have to be stressed about? We don't know. We don't know the half. And I'm sure there is a level of stress that we can't comprehend with these guys, and maybe rightfully so in terms of them comprehending our level of stress. They're different.
Look, here's the stress. I'll tell you the fucking stress, right? If these guys fuck up and get fired from their job, it's blasted all over the news. If these guys do something fucking stupid, it's blasted all over the news. Imagine being at your job, Josh. Let's just go this route. You're at your job and you get fired, right? And they're walking you outside and Fox 8's in your fucking face. Josh Thornton, regular dude. How do you feel about getting shit canned and not providing for your family today? And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the fucking stress. That's NFL's fucking not for long, man. Average NFL career is 4.5 years or something. That's the stress.
Trying to get it while you can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why when people bitch about players taking these big contracts. Yep.
Yeah. Every time.
Get your pennies, man. Get all of them.
Yeah.
Christ, but
100%.
That's where the stress comes from. I mean, you're in a career that's not going to last fucking long. There's people out to get you all the time and try to get a slice of your fucking money. And if you do fuck up or do something stupid or something, like the worst day of your fucking life is going to be all over social media and it's going to be on the fucking news. And then people are going to be sending you, tweets about how much you suck as a person because you got fucking fired from your job. Like, thanks for that, everybody.
Jackass.
Yeah, that's where the fucking stress is, man.
Yeah, and that's a big ball of stress that none of us can really equate to. And these guys got to keep themselves in tip-top prime shape all the time. They got to worry about that. They're away from their families for long, extended periods of time, and most of these guys do have families.
Road beef, and they have road beef too. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They're all rock stars in their own right. So yeah, definitely these guys should be free to medicate in a safe and effective manner, and that does include cannabis. And we need to break away from wanting to pump pills down the throats of our fellow brothers and sisters here. Like, it's despicable what happens in this country with pharmaceuticals. And obviously it is the sole reason we had an opioid epidemic, with heroin and everything else, is because of these pharmaceutical pills. Yep. It's not because marijuana was a gateway drug, and that shit is so antiquated and dated. And if you ever bring that on my timeline, I'm going to blast you for it. Like, it's not. And I spoke about it on the bonus block. If anything actually is a gateway drug, it's alcohol, not cannabis. So
yeah, you know much, dude, look, I've done, you know how much dumb shit I've done while you've been there for like 3/4 of it.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
How much there? I've seen you do some really dumb shit.
Oh yeah.
I've done dumb shit all while drinking. Like, it ain't weed, y'all. Like, that ain't the problem.
No. So
it's
NFL,
fucking getting hammered and doing dumb shit.
Get with the times, man. NFL, get with the times. And they will eventually, but I like you don't get much news about cannabis in the NFL, so when it comes out, I gotta put it on the table for discussion for sure. So, and look, we're gonna stick with the NFL news about the NFL. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because, man, this league, okay, I'm gonna preface this by saying I understand a lot of people lost money during this COVID riddled season this past year, the NFL included. I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure obviously not having fans in the stadium for the most part, they lost money. Sure, I get it. They're now up for renewal of TV deals. They've got one more year on the contracts, and so they're investigating renewal. Well, they went to their partners. You're talking NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS. I think Disney actually owns ESPN and ABC, so Disney's one of them. They go to their partners and they say, "Hey, we're increasing our costs for this service, for carrying the games by 100%. They're doubling. They're doubling. They want to double. Listen, I'm gonna give you a number here, Rich. Okay, so Disney, who was the most recent to sign into the deal, owning ESPN and ABC, they're pushing back because right now Disney agreed to pay $1.9 billion annually for Monday Night Football back in 2011. $1.9 billion annually for Monday Night Football. The NFL wants to double that.
Are they being
$3.8 billion annually for Monday Night Football? So that, like I said, that deal expires at the end of this season.
fucking 3.8 billion?
I mean,
fuck.
Wow, dude. So in comparison, so you're looking at CBS and Fox. Okay, CBS signed in. Now this was before 2011, but they signed on for $960 million annually, and CBS has 2 games every Sunday for the most part. And then Fox signed on for $1 billion annually. So, I'm sorry. $1 billion for CBS, 1.1 for Fox, 960 million for NBC. So Disney's already paying for Monday Night Football. They were already paying almost double what all the other networks are paying. And now the NFL wants everyone to pay double. And Disney's like, whoa. Hold on, bro. I'm already paying 1.9 billion. That's crazy money, Rich, for TV rights.
If the NFL wants to just do all their games on their own, then just do it. Stop trying to squeeze everybody out.
Right.
And what they're doing, and we've seen it with other shit, they're driving the price up so fucking far that your average fan won't even be able to watch the fucking games anymore. You're going to need to buy the NFL subscription for $285,000 a year.
Yep.
While someone else in your family's paying for a fucking PSL, which is purchasing the right to buy the seat.
Dibs.
So I gotta get
it's dibs that cost money.
Yeah, and it's just like, I understand. Look, we're all in the business of making money, and businesses, they got to recoup some costs, or from losing money during the Rona. But
yeah, and that's why I'm waiting, and they haven't announced yet. I think you may have done auto renewal. I did not do the auto renewal. And they haven't posted the availability to renew your tickets yet, other than that auto renewal, which was last year's price. Prices could still go up. They could. You're locked in if you did auto renewal. If you didn't, like me, the price could still go up.
Dude, look, man, you're in the same boat. Like, I'll continue to get the seats for eternity.
Most definitely. They get up at another hundo, and I'll fucking pay it.
Don't make me hate you while I'm doing it.
Right? The thing.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, look, I'm going to do it. You got me. You got me hooked. I'm a fucking 39-year fucking fan here. Don't make me hate you.
Yeah.
When I'm sending that check off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, they're smiling the whole time.
And then, okay, laughing. Fine. Look, I'll send you the check. Send me better shit.
You don't want gloves, Rich?
Fuck you. The gloves suck. All of it sucks. The flags are cool on occasion.
But I rarely do that.
I still have the burlap bag that was kind of sweet.
I kept it forever, dude, for like 2 years, and then it disappeared. I think it got thrown away. Fuck.
Send me a fucking helmet. I think I've gone on this goddamn tirade before. You've been a part of this season ticket family for long enough, just the same, Josh. Send me some cool shit.
Yep.
Send me some shit that other fans don't that other season ticket holders and fans don't have.
Yeah. What do you figure? We'll say at most 3/4 of the stadium's season tickets are sold. Maybe.
Last I heard, it was fucking like to the point where no more.
Oh, wow. Well, even if it's 70,000, say it's 70,000 season tickets are sold. There's no reason you couldn't get every fucking member of the Browns organization to start signing mini helmets and then randomly send them out to all your fucking season ticket holders.
I'll take a fucking mini helmet for my seat rep, dude.
Right.
You know, Maximo Meggett is my guy, and he's fucking awesome. I'll put it on the goddamn shelf over here.
Yeah, they could do a little bit more with it, and I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But hey, I'm not gonna do too much bitching about it because finally, the product on the field is warranting paying.
Yeah, we're not
for the tickets.
Right, we're not going down there just to get shit hammered on a Sunday. Like that's what it was for how many years? I literally, there were times where I didn't drink on Saturdays because I was like, I got to save myself for Sunday because I'm going tailgating
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not going to the Browns game. I'm going tailgating, and sometimes I didn't go to the Browns game. I just tailgated. That was it.
It's good. It's a different era. I love it. Okay, yeah. Sticking with NFL news. I love that we're going on tangents today. It's a good one. Actually, this one's gonna parlay into some Browns talk. This NFL news. So Wentz to the Colts, another big piece moves. Whether you think Wentz is good or not, which most don't think he's that good, he's a big piece in terms of the whole board here, the whole game. Moves to the Colts. The Eagles trade Wentz to the Colts for what? A 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second round, which could turn into a first. So, it looks like a pretty decent deal, actually. For both sides. So you got the Eagles who get rid of Wentz's contract. They get to move on to their young guy, Jalen Hurts over there. And then you got the Colts who get Wentz. Now, Wentz, this is where the deal could start to get one-sided. It's obviously depending on how Wentz performs. His EPA efficiency, he's, if you project, so they had PFF on someone's show on 92.3 The Fan. And they had him project out Wentz. What is he likely to be if you take history as any indicator? And he says he's likely to be, at best, a middle-of-the-road quarterback. At best. So, if the Colts and Frank Reich, right?
Yep.
Frank Reich, right? Reich, can get out of Wentz even half of what he was his Super Bowl run year, where he was ranked second in PFF efficiency grading, they probably win this trade if they can get even half of that. But I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. Wentz's psyche seems to be the most fragile thing about him, even though he's dealt with some injuries.
Soft.
He's soft as hell. But can a fresh start be a good thing, Rich? Say like Tannehill?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll help a little bit, and Reich seems, they gave up, a good amount of shit for him. So they believe that they can get the best out of him. They've got a significantly more talented offensive line, which is going to go through some turmoil because I think my second favorite guard in NFL history, Quentin Nelson, might be moving to tackle. So he's got a better supporting cast. He'll actually communicate with his head coach. The last I heard, fucking Wentz and Doug Peterson hadn't talked for like 8-9 weeks.
Yeah, I did read that. That's crazy.
The one thing that none of this shit is going to help, because it happened when Frank Reich was there, is Carson Wentz is still going to fumble the goddamn football. Dude, he leads. I think he's like statistically the worst fumbling quarterback in the NFL as it sits, and has been since he's been here. Like, we only threw 3 interceptions or some shit. It's like, yeah, but he put the ball on the ground 15 fucking times.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's tough. And look, he'll never be. He could fumble the ball 40 times in one season, but one guy will always take the champion for the most and it was only one time, but the most prolific fumbler.
The butt fumble, baby.
The butt fumble.
Butt fumble's fucking one of my all-time favorite plays. Poor Mark Sanchez. He almost ended up here. Fuck.
There's a long list of quarterbacks who almost said Wentz is on that list, and that's kind of the driver of this conversation.
So the guy on what was it, 92.3 that you said, he said that Wentz at best is a middle of the road quarterback.
Yeah.
So that could put him in the realm of a not top 20 QB, right?
He's actually likely to not be. in a top 20 QB.
Man, I swear there's a dude in our organization who was fucking raked over the coals. People went to his house and slapped his children. When Mr. DePodesta comes out and says, essentially, we don't view Carson Wentz as a top 20 quarterback.
Yeah. And to be fair, he did say that. He said that without using Carson Wentz's name, but he said none of the quarterbacks they felt were a top 20 quarterback. So and that was in that draft class. So yeah.
And it reminds me of a scene from Good Will Hunting where Casey Affleck is like, my boy's wicked smart. Like, we got the dudes, man. We got the dudes right now. Like, they knew. I mean, they knew Wentz. And Wentz, he has moments where he looked all right. This past season, he looked just like he was fucking lost. Like, someone took his eyes out and replaced him with, like, someone else's eyes that have never seen a football game before.
Yeah. It was more than just shaken confidence. The guy looked like he
clueless.
He looked like he forgot what he was doing completely. Like,
like, where am I?
What am I doing here? But yeah, that was leading that into DePodesta. That was the parlay into Browns talk for sure. Cause you see a lot of it, like, did the Browns actually win this trade?
No.
The DePodesta win? Well, it's not like obviously a win-win, but it's just more validation really for him, right?
Well, yeah, he was right. And it helps a bunch. We did not win this trade.
No, we wasted all the picks.
We wasted they turned into some pieces, parts, but Philly got a goddamn Super Bowl. Even though, yes, I know Wentz didn't play, but he was having an MVP year before he got hurt.
Right.
All right. And he had to walk into a building with a fucking statue of a different quarterback out front. That's terrible.
That's so terrible.
But we made, and then people are like, you said, turn this into Brown stuff. Like, people are trying to make Carson Wentz a cautionary tale about Baker Mayfield. Like, why we shouldn't sign him to somewhere. Because Philly's got the largest cap hit for a player that's not there in NFL history.
Listen, let's be honest. Philly didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything any other fucking team wouldn't have done. You got a guy, you sign him. I mean, that's just, you could argue the money and the details about it, but that's a risk you have to take. You have to take it.
There needs to be a market for quarterbacks that aren't Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and shit.
Yeah, another tier, not just, hey, quarterbacks are worth this now.
Someone's gonna, like, dude, Dallas is gonna pay Dak Prescott like $40 million. I like Dak Prescott. I think he's good. He's not a $40 million. Patrick Mahomes ain't no $50 million quarterback neither.
Yeah.
But I mean, if teams want to win consistently going forward, we need another tier, and that would have prevented some of the damage from Carson Wentz. A fucking 31 or something like that, $31 million cap hit going in. Like, you're paying $31 million for a dude that's not there.
Well, and I think that's, part of the reason you'll see a push for the Browns. You'll hear conversations about them having conversations with Baker and his agent about an extension. They're going to pick up the 5th-year option. Actually, that is already starting to leak. We knew that was coming. It's going to happen. There will be talks about extensions, and hopefully soon, because the only thing you can do is do it quickly and hopefully save by avoiding these other extensions that are going to hit with the Allen and the Jackson and the things that are going to drive the value, up even higher.
Right.
So you want to get on the ball with that, I think, for sure. And you're right, Rich. These guys, we're going to continuously overpay for quarterbacks because they're so far and few between. And if you think you got the guy, you kind of got to lock him up, because I think we are the epitome. We are the example of what can happen if you don't have the guy for 20 years. We know what.
Yeah. I mean, it's goddamn doom and gloom, but you can't be forced to pay top of the market for a quarterback that's not top of the market. Like, that's just bad football. It's going to lead to bad football.
It is, and it's the way the system's set up. And like you said, we need another tier. And I don't know how you establish that. I guess if you just have to have willing players that are, understanding of, but this ties back into getting what you can get when you can get it, right? It all kind of is from the same cloth here. So these guys aren't going to likely be like, you know what? I'm not a
Well,
Patrick Mahomes level guy, so I'll go ahead and take 30 million instead of 45 million.
here's the thing, man. Quarterback in the position itself, players are going to be around longer.
Yeah.
So I don't feel as much of the go get your money at the quarterback position. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, fuck, Alex Smith came back from his injury. All right. So quarterback careers can go as long as they want. There's guys that have been career clipboard holders that are making $5 million a year.
I think that's the most prestigious job.
Dude, that is such a legit job. I'd give my left nut for it. But I'm hoping Baker, I hope he remains good, obviously, after we sign him and everything. But I hope he doesn't hold our feet to the fire.
Yeah. And
it gives us a little bit, gives us a little bit of that Tom Brady love.
Yeah, it'd be nice for sure. But that's, and Baker's another, I think another feather in the DePodesta cap, even though Dorsey drafted him. All these guys at least had blessing to some degree or another by DePodesta throughout the years. So we talked about him winning on the Wentz thing, at least it validating, his mindset on that. And it doesn't really stop there. You go back to the, him being high on McDermott. McDermott's turned out well. Now, that's not to say what would have happened here in Cleveland, but he's turned out well where he's at. He wanted Stefanski instead of Kitchens. We all know how that worked out.
How did that work out?
We see it. So the guy really, when an opportunity has presented itself for him to have validation on his thoughts or decisions, it's really worked in his favor, and he's been validated. So, there is more DePodesta love leaking out there now, especially since this Wentz trade went down. And I hope, and I think it does open people's eyes to the Browns. Probably that DePodesta is probably their home run hire.
Okay,
I guess
right.
You're going chicken egg here theory, right? But
well, yeah, because like someone has to set the path for success.
Correct. Yes. And
DePodesta was here during the turd sandwich years, also.
The tanking years, the Sashi?
All of it, just in general. Like he's been here for some time now. I'm starting to lean towards maybe it's Andrew Berry.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Berry is the bigger catalyst for a lot of this going forward.
I think from what we've seen early on in the near term, yeah. But you talked about, I think you hit the nail on the head with the setting the path, the business model.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I
that's
guess
kind of where
I think that's a Depo thing. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's nice, just a general path. You know what I'm saying?
It's nice because you remember the question marks that were surrounding things when we first hired them. Baseball guy? You hired a baseball guy to run your football?
What are you gonna do? You gonna hire Condoleezza Rice?
Yeah, it was just nuts, man. And look, and it was out of the box thinking, but you know what? I applaud the Browns for doing that. I applaud Jimmy Haslam for doing that, for taking that.
Dude, we did everything the other way, twice over, backwards, inside out. We even made the wrong decisions that turned out to be even worse decisions.
Yeah,
it's changed.
It's changed. Right. That's it. It's changed, and I think it's changed obviously for the better. And I hope DePodesta, once we win a championship, doesn't decide he wants a more enticing challenge and goes somewhere else. That seems to be his MO. Like, he hopped around the MLB and helped set teams up, essentially, is what he did, and then set up some damn good teams. And he's like, yeah, this ain't enough. He said football is his first true love, I guess. I read that.
That's fine. Keep him here forever. Build a statue. We're building statues around here.
The DePodesta statue. Oh, that would be glorious. That's so good.
It'd be a Depo pedestal. Deep pedestal.
Anyway, all right. Kudos to DePodesta. We'll give him a little love. We never talk about him, so I figured that was a good opportunity with the Wentz trade to sneak in a little Depo talk and get her done. Yeah, man, that's good. So, Rich, that is actually going to bring us to a close for this episode. This our 101st Danger Zone episode. We'll be getting ready to start season 3 once the league year kicks off. Nothing will change. It will just change to season 3. That's it. Same fantastic sports talk from me and your one and only Richard Stark there across the airwaves. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that for future episodes in season 3. You can follow me at Herb Twister on Twitter. Rich, they got you at
Dick Stark.
And don't forget to follow the Danger Zone page. That's a 6 for the G at the Danger Zone. Follow us all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a review on iTunes, preferably good. I mean, if you don't like us and you want to throw us under the bus, you're more than welcome to do that
Idiot.
too. And as always, look, we're gonna have Rich lead us out here, and we're gonna call this one closed. So what you got, Rich?
For at least the next 2 weeks, dude, just put the cell phone down. Stop. Silly season is going to be in full swing. Like it's at the peak of the hill and it's about to start coming downhill. These next 2-3 weeks, it's going to be scary. All right. And then my personal PSA for you Browns fans out there, check the accounts before you retweet shit, please. Make sure it's fucking verified. Make sure it's the right person, because I haven't gotten bit by retweeting anything yet, but I've had a couple little mini strokes where my left eye just started to sag when I saw, so yeah, make sure your people are fucking verified, man, and before you send that shit out into the ether, because you never know, you could be causing someone to fucking keel over, man.
It's true.
Go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.